properly there?
Yes, I will.
Okay, she had to go off to a baseball game with her son. And my name is Kathy Barnard. Okay, we have 3 items for public hearing. For these items, the applicant will present his case. After he gets done presenting the issues with the case, planning board members will then have an opportunity to ask questions. If there are any members that have concerns or questions, you'll then ask the applicant. Once that's done, I'll also ask Tavis Austin, who is also here, our planning director, if he has any issues that he wants to bring to our attention. Also, I just want to mention that Mary Jane Shelton is also here taking the minutes. After we've gone through all of that, we then have to determine if there are any waivers being requested. If there are, we have to vote on those. If not, we'll close the public hearing and then deliberate. Generally, we'll deliberate on the application. So, the first item is the Headwall Construction, Inc., Wright Gully, LLC. This is at 34 Pine Hill Road, tax map 190-23. Case 2021-10. This is a site plan review for the construction of an office building.
Good evening. Randy Tatro,
It's not you, it's
Norway Plains for the applicant. And the applicant is Jacob Doobie, Headwall Construction. The owner of record is Wright Gully LLC. And this parcel is located, would be on the west side of Pine Hill Road and 109A, just before the town barns, the town garage on the left. It's a small existing lot of record. It's about, I think, 0.32 acres. It originally had a residence on it back in the 90s that burnt down. It's been vacant since. So what's being proposed is a small 26 by 40 office building that will be the office for Headwall Construction, and then also for drainage and so forth. Just general questions by the department heads, nothing of significance that was a problem. Again, the driveway entrance comes off Route 109A, so we need a state DOT entrance permit for that, which we did obtain. And we obtained one originally, and then we obtained, a revised one that would match the site plan, driveway access, width, and specifications. Hopefully approval from you guys before we sent that in. So obviously it'd be subject to that, but it'd be subject to that for a building permit anyway. So, I don't know how much you guys had a chance to look at the site plan, but there are, I believe, 6 spaces from memory. One of them is handicapped. There'll be handicapped ADA access through the front of the building. The septic system will end up being a effluent pump system so that we can keep the grade down for the handicap access on the building. The drainage is, the stormwater drainage has been designed to take 90% of it around the back to the detention area that we show. There's kind of a swale there already. And if you look at the drainage analysis that was done by our engineers, there's zero runoff at the property line. There always is a emergency spillway located on those things for an abnormal event, but the calculations show that there's no, zero CFS leaving the site. We're right at the coverage requirement in the zone. It's a non-conforming lot, but it's still, that's the only thing that's exempt from that is the frontage and the lot size. So lot size in that zone is half an acre, I believe, and this one's less than that. It's 0.32. So it's hard to make the coverage work when we're that close, but we got that to work. 38% of it goes, 38% of it was calculated by the engineers to take the runoff to the back of the building, to the detention area. There's a small little portion at the beginning of the driveway that doesn't go that way, but there's an existing swale along 109, and that's very minimal that heads that way. State didn't have any problem with that. But generally, yeah, the 40%, we're right at the 40%. Read the zoning word for word. It doesn't specify what areas are exempt. You would consider that it would just be the lot size is the area they're talking about, but it doesn't specifically say that. So I don't know for future reference if you have a lot that's under the lot size in the zone and the coverage is, 40%, can you do some kind of ratio there or not? It's not to be answered tonight. I just wanted to bring it up because sometimes we get small situations like that. It's just something to ponder in the meantime because we ran into it on this one. I think you guys understand what I mean.
Okay, but you're saying that the coverage is okay?
Coverage is fine, 40%.
Yeah.
We looked at having to shave it down, but the only thing that we didn't count is the dumpster pad, which I'm not sure if that makes we were right at 40%. The dumpster pad, I suppose, if there is a pad there, it could be considered impervious. But if there's an issue with that, then we could come up with a pervious alternative. It's when you get them in CAD, you get them in the computer, you become pretty finite with the calculations versus just doing it on grid paper or whatever. So, 40% is the coverage, and we have that. So, we wanted to show a dumpster pad because that was brought up in the TRC, and Jake was, Mr. Doobie wasn't sure if they were going to just do it in-house or if they need a dumpster pad. So we wanted to just show them just in case. So at this point, if that becomes an issue, we can figure out an alternative. A lot of times they're not even set on a pad. Set on the edge of the parking lot, something like that, but thought this was a better situation. See if I'm forgetting anything. Landscaping requirement. We've had the number of trees that are required, and they're located various spots on the site. The other areas are shown as landscaped per the regulations. So most of the front of the lot will be, the open grass area and landscaping around the building. Part of the drainage design shows the drip edge, the drip line around the building that is captured and piped into that drainage area. Look at the details. So everybody understand what that means? In other words, you've got the drip line, and you've got stone, and you've got perforated pipe that goes around the building, and that gets it out into the same drainage basin that the sheet runoff from the parking lots. So we've got landscaping, lighting. There was, I believe, talked at the TRC. Correct me if they're wrong. They have a couple of wall-mounted units that meet the lighting specifications that will be on a motion because they really don't want to light up that back parking lot. It's kind of a minimal, situation. That was discussed at the TRC, and I think that was amicable with it. If the board has any other questions about that. Headwall construction is here. If you have any questions regarding, we talked about hours of operation, stuff like that at the meeting. It's still a little bit up in the air on some of that. So if there's any specific business questions you guys want to ask Jake, I'm certainly here to be able to answer them. And with that, I'll have any questions for you guys.
Okay, Randy, the upstairs unit, is that handicapped accessible?
I don't believe, according to the building inspector, that that needed to be handicapped accessible, just the first floor. It wasn't associated with the business. Is that correct, Tavis?
That's my understanding, yes.
What was that?
The apartment does not have to be accessible, but the first floor does.
Okay, all right. I asked it and at TRC and thought I should bring it up. Okay. Questions, folks?
Given that we seem to be having storm events which are reasonably large, what impact with escaped water from your basin or the collecting area, what's that going to have on adjacent properties?
Well, I think if you look at the chart that we have on there, it went up to what, 25-year storm with 0. So if we get more than, get a 50-year event, that's what that emergency spillway is for, Peter. And there's also another basin that was built for the adjacent property, right on that back property line. And we actually pulled the drainage report for that and looked into how that was sized, and quite a bit of room in that based on that previous site plan by White Mountain. So in that event, I think that would be covered.
Other questions?
Move to accept the application as complete.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yeah, I've got a question. Yes, okay, go ahead.
So thanks, Randy. So your drainage there, is that a surface drainage or a perimeter footing drain?
The drainage, the drip edge?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a drip line that goes down into the perforated pipe that wraps around, if you look on the design, and gets into so it's really not a footing drain, it is a footing drain
Because there's no basement.
yeah, as far as the base.
There is no basement, right? No.
So, we used it more to capture the roof runoff, basically, running in.
So
That was part of the drainage computation.
no, it looks good.
Yep.
So your trees that you're going to plant, I didn't see on here what varieties you were going to plant. Did you?
We went back and forth on that, and I kind of wanted to leave it up to the owner, because a lot of times we'll designate these on bigger situations. We'll get a landscape architect to do a plan.
Are they
But
evergreen or deciduous?
we show them as deciduous, but, and it doesn't mandate, does it, in the regulations?
Just a caliper size, I believe, isn't it? Is it a caliper size? Caliper
Yeah, I
size?
think it's 4-inch, right?
Yeah.
That
Just
sounds,
guessing, I'm trying to remember. I believe a lot of times they'll plant the dwarf maples and dwarf, cherries and stuff like that.
Well, that was the reason why I was asking, because you got 3 of them all next to each other. So if they're 4-inch tree, those aren't going to grow all right next to each other.
Yeah, probably 2 would have been better than that. And I don't know that the amount we have on there is necessarily as many as we need with 6 parking spaces. Does anybody recall? Say it was.
it's more than you need. I
Yeah,
think it's
it's
one
more
for
than we
two,
need.
1 for 2 stalls.
Yeah, it's 1.
I would take out the
right?
one in the middle for sure.
Yeah. Well, that would be. I appreciate the comment. I mean, I think we showed them in there as see what we could fit in. Depends on what they are, I guess. Again, if
I mean,
you
I
guys are looking at it more-
can see one of them on the corner being a evergreen because it will block the parking and screen a little bit, and then you come closer to the corner of the building there, and you could probably grow a smaller ornamental tree or something of that nature, and across on the front of the building you got screening potential there. So, I mean, either way, those are good spots.
There'll probably want to be something in the front to hide.
Tavis, the coverage issue, are you comfortable with Randy's explanation?
I am, primarily because there's nothing in the ordinance that requires a dumpster, so it's up to their preference. They need to address trash collection, but I think even the dumpster itself, as it's right next to the retention pond, isn't going to pose an issue. under lot coverage.
Well, again, sometimes they put it in crushed stone. You know,
Right.
they put an area of crushed stone, which isn't considered impervious, and if it's got,
That corner off, that would act as a supplement for the corner over the dumpster pad.
yeah,
don't
we
know.
already thought of that part. We didn't want to shrink, both engineers told me the same thing about the radius, but the plans are already submitted, so I really
All
didn't
right.
want to change anything. It ends up being about, I want to say 200 square feet.
Yeah, I know.
So it probably would do that. And again, these are proposed plans, not as-built, but the throat of the entrance road is 20 feet for two-way. We thought about shrinking that down, but we'd already got the,
Question about the building. Since there's an apartment upstairs, how do you get there? Right. Is it accessed through the office? Because we didn't get a floor plan.
So the access now
Could
is...
you please identify yourself?
Oh, sorry. I'm Jacob Doobie, owner of Right Gully LLC and Headwell Construction. Access for the apartment is going to be inside. You can walk in door, parking lot, rear. I don't want an exterior.
Is there emergency access for,
Okay, Mike. go ahead.
One question. Have we resolved the issue with the dumpster pad versus the changed radius of the turnaround, or what? What are you going to do?
and we did provide building plans. I don't know if everybody got them or whatever, but, the dumpster pad, we can certainly modify the site plan when we submit final plans to show that radius. That will cover the dumpster pad either way. That way, we don't have to mandate.
I'm perfectly happy with what you presented. It's John who has a suggestion, so I just want to follow up for John's
I
suggestion.
know, John, yeah.
What are we going to do?
I mean, that would be fine. We're right at,
In with a new idea, which is what you have printed out in front of you. The only difference, which some may argue is a material difference under the design guidelines, is on the Pine Hill side, swapping the center window to a door. So there would be a door on both the front and rear of the building. Other than that, it remains the same. That's all I have on the building.
Okay.
And as to the other question that Mike just posed, if the planning board is comfortable, I am perfectly comfortable to work at the building permit phase to determine if it's a 90-degree angle or a radius to compensate for the pad or no pad for the dumpster, unless that's material to the board.
That's fine with me.
That's fine with me.
Okay. Did you want
Yeah, just clearing up that point, and I'd be happy to make a motion to accept the application as complete.
to, okay. Somebody want to second that motion?
So moved?
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, great. I'm going to open the public hearing on this item. Does anyone want to speak to this presentation or the project? Okay. Yes, please come on up and give us your name and address.
My name's Tricia Victorin. I live at 33 Pine Hill Road, directly across the street. And my only question is, I can't see traffic coming around from there. And so if now I have Land Bank Lane, plus I'm also looking for traffic coming, from the town garage side, and now I may have tenants or other people pulling out of this new driveway that's going to be directly opposing mine. I've got that extra, now I've got an extra piece of traffic to worry about. And also, the town has, on several occasions, that has anything to do with the zoning and the building of this building, but I am wondering about any additional considerations that can be given to placement for the driveway for the extra traffic.
Okay, all right. Randy, can you or some member of your team speak to that? Also, the police, I believe, were at the TRC meeting. Were they? Yes.
yeah, the Public Works was at the TRC,
And
police are at the
Public Works,
TRC.
right.
We obviously got the state's jurisdiction, the state approved the entrance, which was
Right.
one of the things I wanted to make sure of. And although the tax map shows the road, the right-of-way pretty straight in there, the road, I think, you know, what she's talking about is the elevation of the road. Yes.
You need to come on back up, I'm sorry.
Literally the curve. So this is not straight. You're coming around here from my driveway. You can't see around this corner. And so they're coming right
Okay, if
here.
you could speak
That's my
to us.
driveway.
So, okay. No, no, I did not.
Yeah, so she's concerned with the part toward Bay Street, coming up around that corner. She's concerned about the lower part towards Bay Street with traffic coming up around that corner, which was the same concern I had. That's why I wanted to make sure that we got state permit and we had safe site distance, which we did prove.
Right.
Now, on her side of the road may be a little bit different. The road is crowned, so any drainage off the road is not super elevated, so the drainage from each side, you know, goes to that side. The town does have drainage that heads down. There's a catch basin down by Bay Street, so they have their own drainage system on that side of the road, which we're not really affecting other than very slightly with the front part of that driveway. As far as the road being straight or curved, I mean, it is straight in front of the property. When you start going down towards Bay Street, it probably bends off to the left. And again, that's why we do what we do with the state to get the permitting to begin with. I'm just going to show her where the driveway is coming off. State makes you stay.
Yeah. Okay, we need to have you speak into the microphone, okay?
Sorry. So this is my driveway, right across the street. Here's the utility pole, and right here, it's curved. We cannot see from our driveway to here. From here, and then in the winter, everything here on the entire side of the road, from beyond this utility pole almost to the other side of our driveway, is frozen. It's solid ice. And so if there's traffic coming this way, or you're turning in or out, then that's a concern for you as well, where nobody's had to turn on that patch of ice before because there's no ice here. So
Okay,
that was my only concern.
okay, go ahead, Tavis.
I was just going to say, I don't know how much of this is in the planning board purview as it is under DOT. One thing I would mention to the board is that both the project property and Trish's property have essentially equal frontage. I mean, the property lines are almost straight across the road from one another. So I'm not sure even if the planning board had the authority to move the driveway, if it would offset the situation that DOT has permitted. Just putting that out there for the
So
board.
DOT normally requires you to set up the driveways opposite, or the roads, or whatever you do, directly opposite the other ones for that purpose, so that everybody can see what's going on. Right? If you stagger them, they don't like you staggering them. If you do stagger them, there's a width of, like, I believe 30 feet that they like you to stay, you know, so that you don't have them too close together. But if there's driveways on the other side of the street, or there's roads on the other side of the street, they normally like you to be directly opposite them. And you see that as far as DOT and normally in their permitting.
So Randy, when you build your driveway there and you come down into the road, are you going to come right down into the road and the water's going to run down the driveway and run off the tar, or are you going to have the relief away from the road.
No, this is the standard state 2% and then up. And the state did require a paved apron, which in this case we're paving it anyway. But they'll usually require, like on the last application, we talked about that, where it was stained gravel. The state required a state apron. But they generally want you to pitch the existing driveway is going to pitch down and it's going to come back up to develop that little bit of a swale so that it doesn't ice like that. You see some driveways that do that. And
So essentially, you got a road like this, it tips down and then goes into their driveway.
right. It's going to go into their driveway, it's going to go along. That's already there. Yeah.
So there's no water coming across the road to her driveway
Well, again, I'm not refuting anything
that
the
runs
abutter
from...
said. It's there may be some issues with snow removal and ice and drainage on that side of the road. You know, there may be. I mean, again, that's why we apply and that's why we go through the process.
Okay, any other comments?
I just note that there must have been a driveway somewhere there before, if there was a house that burned down. It's not a new.
I can speak to that. There was a driveway there before, and it was right in this location right here. I have plans. I think I might have submitted them. I submitted them to the state. It shows the old driveway, and it was actually used by like this and out back. And that was part of the submission to the state, so that I could prove there was a driveway in that general area at the, with the old house, which there was a plan, an old plan by Lakes Region Survey that showed that. And I don't know how much weight that held with them, but at least it showed that there was one there before. And then when the site plan was done for the adjacent roadway, I want to say 2014, we talked about this at the TRC, that got a municipal entrance permit, not a state entrance permit, but that was part, of that original private roadway out back. So we had no right-of-way access or permission to come off of that road, so we had to go with our own, which was there in previous, when it was a residence.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, Tavis, do you have some conditions for us to consider?
I did have some recommended conditions based on the earlier discussion on the design illustrations that were presented. I would like to remove number 2 or revise number 2. So the resultant recommended conditions were 1, following plans as amended by the date of this approval. That refers to everything that was in your packet with the modification of the elevations that you received this evening. Recommended condition number 2 is that tree spacing be considered in the landscaping plan, that all trees should be installed with a minimum 3-inch diameter caliper. Number 3, applicant responsible for payment of all recording fees. And number 4 is the standard all documentation should become part of the final package. And that's all I have at this time.
Okay. Board members, what is your pleasure with this application?
I'd be happy to move to approve this application, Madam Chairman.
Okay.
Seconded.
Motion has been made to approve the application with the conditions indicated. Somebody want to second that?
Seconded.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other comments? Okay, all the...
I do have a comment.
Okay.
I'm very happy to see something going in this spot because it's been empty for a very long time. I think this is a good thing.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you. Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, all right, thank you, that is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, the next application, Scott Descharme, 560 North Line Road, tax map 67-1-1 and 2, case 2021-11. This is a boundary line adjustment for 2 lots, and it seems to me that we saw this relatively recently.
Sorry about that. Randy Tatro, Norway Plains for the applicant, and Madam Chair is correct. Came before the board back in November under COVID of last year. At the time, it was so generally, if you bear with me for a second, I'll show you the before and after. But the general idea is that they're going to be both closer to the same acreage than they were before. Before it was going to be 5 acres with the log cabin, and now I believe it's going to be closer to 8. And what that does is that allows the log cabin to have access across the bog, if you will, all the way to the back property, whereas before we cut across to make 5 acres this way because the landowner wanted to potentially keep this for whatever reason back there, and with the log cabin in blue and the remaining land in pink. This is the result, with the 2 being closer to the same size. Again, I wish I could have done it the first time this way. We went through all of the lot size calculations and stuff before, and they met them. In this case, that lot is getting a little bit smaller, but it still meets it by quite a bit. Mm-hmm. It's really as straightforward as that, lot line adjustment. Actually, a little better configuration, they feel, for resale as well.
It does seem like a better configuration. Oh, okay, so that's it. Oh, okay, any questions?
Not here, Madam Chair.
Okay. Tavis, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I'm fine with it as submitted, at least until it comes back again.
Okay, all right. Let's bring on this issue. And there does not seem to be any member of the public. And Tavis, the conditions, you don't really...
No recommended conditions on this.
Okay, all right, so close the...
Don't there need to be new monuments put up for the survey?
If they decide to actually do it, yes.
Yeah, that's a fairly good catch by Peter. There is one new monument that will need to be set in that general location. So that would be part of what we normally do with the monumentation thing, where we record the plan.
Did you monument the last one?
Yep.
Oh, so now you've got to pull pins and replace pins?
Well, yeah, but I mean, the last one was monumented over in this area because it cut across for the 5 acres, so it's just online. It doesn't mean anything. And that's the problem with boundary line adjustments. Some of the towns will require the deeds for them when they're 2 different property owners. So to make sure that if for some reason they get in a fight, which I've had in years, and they don't sell the property, we've got monuments sitting out there, and everybody doesn't know, if they're good or not. But that really doesn't matter. I mean, it's conveyance that matters. In this case, since it's the same landowner, it's once you guys sign the plan, it gets recorded. That's the way it is. So that's the difference in that regard. So we wouldn't need something like that here. But we would need to put that one monument into, so I'd have to do a monumentation. End of the Class 5 road, if you know where it is, up by the water treatment plant. Yeah. So, and again, we're not creating any additional lots from what got approved in 2003 or now. So I think that was the rationale behind that, Vaughn.
Okay, go ahead, Julie.
Randy, thank you for putting the water line on this.
Yep.
Can you add some more words to say what kind of water line it is, like maybe municipal town water line?
Yeah, I think it's...
Is it just just says waterline easement. We don't know what waterline it is.
Yeah, I think the original one said municipal.
We just might need those words later in life.
Yeah, I mean, we can add that to the recording plan, municipal water line. Originally, they didn't want to get too specific with that because the location is a bit approximate based on the water shutoffs that are out there. We had that conversation with Dave at the TRC. It's an old 18 whatever. Yeah, well, that's right. You would know when you worked on it, right?
That one was put in the 90s.
Right.
It's a pair of 12-inch ductile iron pipes go right up through there right now, so.
The original one was in a different location.
It was actually right about there too, because
Yeah,
we dug up some of the old wooden water line from
That's
back
what
in the day.
Yeah,
It's on display down here somewhere.
yeah.
Oh, that's where it came from.
I did have a
Yeah, go ahead.
question too. If I recall last time,
Fine with it, they didn't need to do that, but if Mr. Ducharme said if that's what someone wants in the future to better define that, then he's willing to,
yeah,
do whatever he's got to for that. But in this particular situation, we didn't expend the effort to do it.
You said approximate location. It's approximate.
Yeah, and it's a little better than approximate. I mean, it's based on the shut-off
Valves.
that we did see out there in the, but, I mean, again, it wasn't as built when it was put in, to survey standards and all that, so, if they wanted to negotiate with him.
out it and kind of decided everybody's good with it, so.
We have words, that's good.
Yeah, we'll put the word municipal on there.
Okay, so should the conditions that were on the last one be added to this one?
I don't believe there were conditions on the last one, because this is functionally what I did was,
it just talks about the plan and things of that nature.
well, if the applicant's going to move forward with the monumentation, then yes, there should be something memorializing that for signature with the word municipal on the water line and the new pin being set showing the resultant properties, yes. And the applicant would be responsible for recordation fees.
Oh, okay, so those are the conditions that would be added, okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so.
Anything else?
Okay. Okay, well, there are some conditions. So should we just make this part of the application?
And the original plan has been recorded, so it's referenced on this survey, Kathy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is So we're talking about the standard conditions being added to this application. Yes, I think it would be easiest for the board to reference a notice of decision from November 17th, 2020 with a plan update for this plan set, and the rest of the conditions would work.
Oh, okay, all right.
With the addition of municipal added to.
With the addition of the word municipal, yes.
Okay, would somebody like to make a motion?
Be happy to move to approve the lot merger, beg pardon, the
Boundary line
reconfiguration of the
adjustment.
lots as, with the conditions presented by the planner as appearing on the original
Of
application,
11/17/20.
11/17/2020 application. Sorry about that.
Okay, great.
Reconfiguration.
Okay, that's the motion. Somebody want to make a second? And this is for the new construction of a house. Hi.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Merrill, the builder, speaking on behalf of property owner Paul Holmes. When we started planning this, we weren't aware of approval, so you'll have to walk me through what you're looking for. I included all the paperwork that I believe you are. I included all the paperwork that I believe you all have. So I think it speaks for itself. Approximately 680 square foot ADU above the garage of a not yet built but proposed single-family home of approximately 2,500 square feet. So I leave you with questions.
Okay, so basically, what you did was there's an accessory dwelling unit questions, and except for the first one, you answered no, but the rest of them you did answer in the affirmative. So that means that this application basically is complete. Let's see, the entry door for this unit to this single-family dwelling?
The ADU would be accessed from an exterior man door through the garage, up a set of stairs, and then another interior door, all its own. The home is a standard front door.
Oh, okay, and so this is a one-floor ADU?
It's a one floor above the garage, correct.
Okay, all right. Okay.
If I may, on your questionnaire, do you have a copy of it in front of you? Do you have...
I do not, no.
Okay, well, I'll read it to you then. Well, the question you answer in the affirmative is... Thank you, Tavis. I'll wait till you get set up.
Questionnaire.
You're on the
accessory
first
dwelling.
page.
Yep.
Okay, it's number 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth question down. Will the entry door to the ADU be located on the side or to the rear of the structure?
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Where is the entry door located?
Well, if we look at the plan, if you look at the first page, A1,
Yep,
you see the two-car garage to the right and a man door to the right of that.
yep.
That man door accesses the garage, as any garage door would, but through that door, up a flight of stairs, looking at sheet A7, you'll see it coming up the stairs. I would consider the entry to the ADU an interior door on the second floor.
Okay. Continuing down, will at least one dedicated off-street parking space be provided for the ADU? Can you show me where that is on your plans?
Do we have a plot here? I think we do. The last...
So that the occupant of the ADU will know that is indeed his or her place?
Yes, it'll be demarcated, yes.
It'll be marked on the ground?
What's that?
It'll be marked or striped in some fashion on the pavement?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We'll probably be a little more decorative by putting a stone...
However, as long
yeah.
as it's delineated.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
And-
Ms. Sherman.
Yep. Any other questions?
I'm going to do the rookie question again. I thought we had to be able to walk from the house through a door to the ADU. I thought they had to connect. No?
In this case, they do because the garage is a conditioned space.
So the garage is being used.
Conditioned space,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, any other? John, did you have? No, okay. All right, then it appears that this application is complete. I don't think I have to go through, yeah, right. So anyone want to make a motion on this application?
Be happy to move to approve case number 2021-12 for an ADU at the project address as stated on Cotton Mountain Road, tax map 154-002.
Okay, thank you.
Did you open the public hearing?
I wasn't sure that
We did not.
No, I wasn't sure if I had
I would
to,
just open
had to
and-
do that for, but.
For a conditional use
There-
permit, yes.
Okay, yes.
I know there's no one here, but
Yeah, no, okay. Okay, let's hold on that and open the public hearing. Any member of the public that wants to comment on this, now is the time to do that. Okay, I'll move on then and continue.
I'll restate my motion.
Yes.
I'd be happy to move to approve, I beg pardon, the ADU unit, case number 2021-12, on the appropriate address on Cotton Mountain Road, tax map number 154-002.
Okay, and I'll second that application. Any other comments? Okay, everyone who is in favor of this application, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
can't find it on the agenda.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is public comments.
That was my packet I gave Mike.
And there do not seem to be any members of the public here to comment. So moving on to other business, CIP guidelines from the selectmen. Did you want to go over the CIP guidelines?
I